You know that feeling where you're staring into the fridge and nothing feels like dinner? I've had that more times than I can count. And over the years, I found a few simple things that actually make it easier. And today, I'm sharing them with you. Who else out there is tired of the 6 o'clock scramble? You know what I'm talking about, where at 6 o'clock, everyone's hungry and you are just getting started on dinner.
I haven't done a freezer meal prep in a while, and I've been paying for it every day at 6 o'clock. Not because I don't know what to cook, I do, but because I haven't given myself margin. And when dinner turns into something you're starting at 5 or 6 o'clock, it feels heavier than it needs to. If you've ever looked at the clock and thought, I cannot start one more thing, that's what this is. It's not a meal planning issue, it's an energy issue. Because most of us can figure out what to cook, that's not the hard part. The hard part is starting when you're already depleted, when you've been answering questions all day, solving problems all day, making decisions all day. Dinner at 6 isn't just dinner, it's one more thing that requires energy that you don't really have. So today is the day we get back on track. I'm working from the winter freezer meal guide from This Crafty Home. I love the way she lays out the meal prep flow. She really kind of removes all decisions. In the full version, she doubles 10 recipes for a full freezer stock up. That's amazing if you have the space and you already know your family loves everything. That's not what this season needs in our house. My freezer is tiny and I'm not storing 20 meals. So today I'm making 8 meals split into 2 sessions, and that's enough to take the pressure off of dinner. Now what I've realized is I don't actually need a perfectly fully stocked freezer. I just need a head start. I need something that makes 6 o'clock feel like finishing, not starting. Because starting at 6, it feels reactive. And reactive is when I'm more likely to rush or overspend or order some takeout that I didn't plan on. Not because I don't care, but because I'm tired. So the way this prep works is simple. Start the thing that takes the longest first. For me, for this prep today, that's browning the ground beef. Now, this in the past would usually be the moment where I'd be tempted to wait, maybe to say, I'll do it later. But later is exactly when I don't have the energy. So starting the slow part first is really what sets this whole thing up for success. So while the beef cooks, I get started on all of the chopping. I chopped all of the onions in one go and then separated them into bowls so that I can just put them into their respective recipes and move on. It seems small, but it's one of those little micro decisions. Those micro decisions add up. What knife? Is this equivalent to 1 onion? What bowl? Where did I put that spice? It's not the big decisions that really drain you. It's those little tiny decisions. Switching tasks, changing directions, realizing you forgot something and then having to pivot. And when that is happening at 6 o'clock, it just, it feels heavier. Earlier in the day, it feels more manageable. Once the vegetables are ready, it just becomes kind of like an assembly line. So vegetables first, then canned ingredients, then spices. Oh, and here's a little trick that I discovered this time. By doing this in front of my spice cabinet, I could actually just put everything away right after I used it. The order in which you add everything matters, because once you're in dump and seal mode, you can stop overthinking, because once everything is prepped, this isn't really cooking. It's more just kind of like assembling, and assembling is a lot faster than decision making. So you're not asking what should we have for dinner each night. You're just grabbing a bag and getting started. So here is the honest part. This doesn't save time today. It actually costs time today. And I think that's why freezer prep sometimes falls off the list. It feels heavy, it feels complicated, it doesn't feel urgent in the moment, but the stress that it prevents later absolutely is. So when you have freezer meals ready to go, it removes the 6 o'clock mental spiral, the what are we eating? Do I have to run to the store loop? And that spiral it can get expensive, like not just financially, but also emotionally. So even having 4 meals ready just changes how the week feels, because now there's a buffer. If an afternoon appointment runs long, if homework takes longer than expected, if I'm just done, dinner doesn't fall apart.
Okay, first up, protein. Costco is a great source for affordable proteins, and these chicken breast multi-packs are a staple in our house. I cut the packages apart and put them in the freezer as soon as I get home, and super easy to pull out for weeknight meals. I used to buy the pasture-raised eggs here, but I haven't seen them in months. And today, no eggs at all. Costco sure can keep you on your toes sometimes. Okay, you get this big old bag of oats. This bag lasts a really long time. I use it for overnight oats, baking, homemade granola bars, energy bites, and it's a major cost per serving win. These Tasty Bite lentils are a go-to lunch for my daughter. They're pre-cooked, super flavorful, and packed with protein. She loves them, and to be very honest, I love that it's a healthy lunch that she can prepare herself. I also always grab vanilla extract here whenever we're running low. It's a way better value than those teeny tiny bottles at the grocery store, and we go through a lot between baking and smoothies. On to the dairy section. So, plain Greek yogurt, super versatile. I use it in smoothies. I eat it for breakfast almost every day. You can even use it in place of sour cream, and this big tub saves so much compared to the grocery store. This block of cheddar is cheaper per ounce than pre-shredded cheese, and also it melts way better. So you could also shred it and put it in a freezer bag, so in case you're worried about not using that whole block. Cheese sticks, the snack that never fails. Easy to grab, easy to pack. My kids always ask for it. I always grab both salted and unsalted grass-fed butter here. We go through a ridiculous amount of butter in my house. I'm actually almost embarrassed to admit to you how much butter we use, but because we use so much, I like to use high quality butter, and it costs way less at Costco than in the small packs at the regular grocery store. Now for some kid-approved snacks. This big tub of hummus is perfect for dipping veggies. In fact, I like to refer to baby carrots as hummus delivery devices. I also love these single-serving guacamole packs. When you do the math comparing to buying fresh avocados, these actually come out cheaper, and I don't have to worry about them going bad before we eat them. Okay, now let's hear from my daughter, who is basically a healthy snack expert at this point.
Okay, so there are some healthier chips. They're still not healthy, but they're not your average Frito-Lay. So they're these popcorners. They're really good. They come in 4 flavors: sea salt, spicy queso, kettle corn, and white cheddar. So that's one of the healthier options. And then there are these Drizzlicious things. They come in 3 flavors: s'mores, cinnamon swirl, and birthday cake. So those are good. There's these lesser evil popcorn. So those are those. Bye.
Trying these made good granola balls for the first time. A friend of mine told me about them. My kids love anything snack sized and packaged, and I love that they sneak in some healthy ingredients. So I'll let you know in a future video how they like them. Okay, these Siete tortilla chips are a splurgy staple for us. They are a better for you option. They're grain-free, super crunchy, and they go great with guac and hummus. This mom runs on caffeine, and Costco has some of the best prices on organic whole bean coffee. Also, we usually pick up sparkling water. My husband and my kids really prefer sparkly water, and Costco has some of the best prices around. And we have chia seeds, tiny but mighty. I sprinkle them over yogurt, into oatmeal and smoothies. And as I dropped them into the cart, my daughter goes, "These are so good in smoothies." Kid approved bonus. And here's another smart shopping tip from my other daughter.
Hi. At Costco, some of the stuff can be a little iffy, but there's also some good stuff about it. So, I have one tip. So if you want to have something healthy, check on the ingredients, not just what they say, but if there are a bunch of them, then that is one clue that there is added stuff. But that's all my tip. Bye.
I grabbed these Kirkland protein bars for my husband. He takes one to work nearly every day. Good ingredients, filling, way cheaper than most of your name brand bars. Now, I don't usually buy the muffins, but when I do, it's because my kids and husband begged for them. So on this trip, I grabbed a 2-pack to bring to a gathering. We'll see if they actually make it there. When I first got into freezer meal prep, I loved the convenience, but so many of the recipes that I was finding online used highly processed inflammatory ingredients, and that just didn't sit right with me. So I went about adapting them. I looked for cleaner, anti-inflammatory swaps. So now you can have all of the convenience without sacrificing nutrition or flavor, because let's be real, I mean, we want dinner to taste good too, right? First up is stuffed bell pepper soup. So the first thing you want to do is get some ground turkey browning. The reason is we want it to cook and we want it to cool all the way before we put it in the freezer bag. While the meat is cooking, chop 1 onion and 2 bell peppers and then toss them in the bag. Then you want to add a can of tomato sauce and a can of diced tomatoes. I'm going to season it with a teaspoon each of oregano and cumin, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of chili powder, and a tablespoon of coconut aminos. And then I'm going to add 2 spoonfuls of jarred minced garlic. Yes, fresh garlic is amazing, but it also takes a really long time to mince. So we're going for convenience here. You finish by putting a pound of browned ground turkey that's cooled, seal it up, and then when you're ready to cook it, you've got a soup that tastes like it simmered all day. Next, the easiest one, simple potato soup. Add 32 ounces of diced or shredded potatoes, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, and a teaspoon of sea salt. That's literally it. On cooking day, you cook it with some chicken broth, and then you can leave it chunky or blend it with immersion blender for a creamy vibe. It's easy, cozy, and done. Now for pasta e fagioli, the ultimate Italian-inspired comfort soup. So add 1 diced onion and a cup of chopped carrots. Then pour in a can of diced tomatoes, a can of white beans, and a can of kidney beans. And then season with a spoonful of jarred minced garlic, a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a tablespoon of coconut aminos, 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, and a pinch of dried basil. Slice half a pound of chicken sausage into bite-sized pieces and drop it in. And then seal it up. And this one, actually, we had this the day that I filmed this, and it made the whole house smell incredible. It was really yummy too. Next up, honey garlic stir fry. So I don't know about you, but any kind of Chinese takeout, fake out is usually a hit in our house. So begin by chopping 1 red bell pepper and 1 onion and add that to your freezer bag along with a heaping tablespoon of jarred minced garlic, a teaspoon of sea salt, and then chop 1 pound of chicken breast and add that to your freezer bag. That's actually it for the freezer prep. It's pretty simple. On cooking day, you're going to add it to the skillet with a half cup of honey and a 1/4 cup of coconut aminos. Very easy, very simple, very tasty. And finally, cheesy chicken broccoli rice, total comfort food. So into the bag goes 12 ounces of frozen broccoli florets, a tablespoon of garlic powder, half a tablespoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of sea salt, and 1 pound of diced raw chicken breast. Then on cooking day, here's how it works. So you're gonna layer these bagged ingredients over 2 cups of rice in the slow cooker. Pour 3 cups of chicken broth over the top and let it cook. When it's finished, you're gonna stir in about 1 to 2 cups of shredded cheese, and it is easy and cheesy. We actually had this last night and it was a big hit with everybody. That's 5 freezer meals prepped in minutes each. So freeze them flat, separated by pieces of wax paper, and then dinner is literally ready before the day even starts. Once the meals were prepped, I laid the bags flat to freeze. This saves so much space. It also helps the meals to thaw out faster when you're ready to use them. Now, if a bag was still warm from cooked ingredients, like when I browned the sausage or the ground beef, I popped it in the fridge to cool first before freezing. That helps to prevent freezer burn because, I mean, does anyone like freezer burn stuff? Yeah. I labeled each meal with the meal name and the date and some simple cooking instructions. The guide does come with pre-printed labels, which is pretty awesome. You don't need those labels. You could accomplish the same thing with a Sharpie and some confidence, but I did like having the cooking instructions right there on the bag because that way I'm not Googling how long to cook something at 5 o'clock when everybody is hungry. I'm not gonna lie, labeling everything felt a little extra at first, but when dinner's already prepped and I know exactly how to cook it, that's a win. Most of these meals can go straight from the freezer into your slow cooker or Instant Pot, but I do try to thaw them overnight in the fridge whenever I can, especially if there is rice or pasta involved. If I do need to cook from frozen, I make sure to break up the bag a little bit first, layer the meat on the bottom, and spray the pot with oil to help avoid a burn notice. For Instant Pot meals, I usually follow the same instructions that are on the label, just adding a little extra time if it's still mostly frozen. If you're cooking in the crock pot, the low setting is your best friend. 4 to 6 hours is a sweet spot for most of these. The freezer meal guide came with a full month of suggested meals, but I don't follow it exactly. I like to look at our week and pull 2 or 3 meals that make sense based on our schedule, especially on days when I know we'll be out late or I just don't want to cook. Having even a few of these in the freezer makes weeknights feel a lot less chaotic. It's like giving myself a gift every time I remember I already made dinner. Okay, let's go shopping. Starting in the meat section, I always grab the big pack of chicken breasts. I like to freeze these in portions and then use them in tacos, sheet pan dinners, whatever the week throws at us. Also, I am grabbing a rotisserie chicken today. I don't usually do this, but my daughter has a swim meet this weekend, and after sitting in the Texas sun for 7 hours, am I gonna feel like cooking dinner? No, I don't think so. So for $5, I am going to press the easy button. I'm also picking up some salmon today. This is some fresh Atlantic salmon. It's actually sourced from Norway rather than Chile. Norway has better aquaculture practices, and that's actually a really good price for salmon. So I'm gonna throw this in the cart. Next, we are headed to the freezer section. Frozen fruit is always on the list. I always keep blueberries, cherries, and strawberries on hand. But today, my daughter asked if we could try this organic daybreak blend. She says she's gonna use it in smoothies, and if not, she'll just eat it. I'm also restocking cauliflower rice. It's not fancy, but it does make for a very easy side or a base for quick dinners. Moving on to snacks, these guacamole cups are a staple. We usually get the Kirkland brand, but the Holy guacamole brand was on sale, so I bought those. But unfortunately, they were right below the macarons, so I had to contend with my daughter on that. String cheese is another no-brainer for us. We go through a lot of string cheese, and Costco definitely has the best price. And I am always on the lookout for clean ingredient protein bars. In my last Costco video, we tried the Kirkland brand, but I'm sorry to say it tasted like cardboard. So we skipped Kirkland, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab these RX bars because they are on sale today. The box says no BS. Let's see if that's correct. canned tomatoes and coconut milk are always in our rotation. Canned tomatoes are great for chili, for soups, for sauces, and coconut milk is good for a quick curry. Also, you can use it in soups. I actually really like to use it as a coffee creamer. Costco is my go-to spot for olive oil. They have some really good quality olive oils available, and they have them at a great price, way better than you can find at most grocery stores. And we always pick up the Kirkland brand peanut butter. Peanut butter, always, yes. That is a fan favorite around here. And that's it for today's haul. This haul gives me what I need for tacos, sheet pan meals, curry, smoothies, easy lunches, grab and go snacks. Nothing terribly fancy, just the stuff that we use day in, day out. And some of these ingredients are actually going to be pulling double duty because in next week's video, I'm going to be showing you how to cook once and eat all week. 3 dinners from 1 prep session, a lot of which I'm picking up today. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you tune in next week.